Hi, it's Uncle Ben, coming here with another episode of Uncle Ben's Life Hacks. I'm here sitting on a bench next to Lake Alice. The water level is pretty high here. Today is February 4th, a Friday. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pretty nice in the shade, but it's a little hot in the sun. I'd say low humidity for around this area, so it's pretty nice outside. Right now I'm sitting on this bench next to the road over there, and I just got done with my transport test. I felt good about it. I felt good about this first half. I had the second half on Monday, which is a new concept for me. Usually I've had tests that are either just the one block during the day, or they are at night and are like 3-hour exams. So this kind of broken up 2 50-minute periods over a weekend is new to me. We'll see how it goes. Alright, there was some commotion over there. Sounded like something came up and then went back down. There is a potential for alligators to come out here, but I don't think so right now. At least I'm going to keep an eye out for them. They generally take away the big ones because exactly for this reason. If there are a bunch of big alligators out in Lake Alice, which is here on the UF campus. Go Gators. Oh, yeah. Go Gators. Anyway. If there are a bunch of big alligators out here, then they would not have this park bench here. It's like 10 feet from the water line and would be prime position for something to come out and get me. So yeah, I'm definitely glad about that. Anyway. I am trying to remember to fill up my bike tire. It's not necessarily low, but it's getting there. I found a little bit of extra resistance on the roads. And so if I inflate the tire, here, we have a learning moment. So, the way that the tire works is, as it's going along the ground, this bottom part actually smushes. So it actually deforms and becomes flatter. And when it does that, it increases contact with the ground. So usually the rule of thumb is if you're going over soft ground, you want flatter tires. You want less air in your tires because softer ground will yield to high pressure. And if you have the same amount of weight, say your own body, you have the same amount of weight over a smaller surface area, then you have a higher pressure. And therefore you will sink in more, and it's usually bad when that happens. Then you start getting like your tire to spin, and that's not good. I should specify. When your tire spins, when you're pedaling and your bike tire spins, and you don't move because of it, that is when it's bad. Now obviously, if your tires don't spin, period, if your tires don't spin and you don't move and you're trying to pedal, then that's bad. But if your tires move, if you're pedaling, your tires move, and you are moving, then that's good. Anyway. Sorry. This is not as coherent as I would like there to be, or like it would to be, because I'm getting off of brain fry from the test. I find that coming out after a big mental stress, like a test, I find it good to come to somewhere like this and either listen to music for a little bit or go on a short run, but just like do something completely different. And one of those things I'm doing tonight, I'm having people over for pizza, which I believe I talked about yesterday. So that's fun. We are delegating drinks and snacks and such, which is always a problem. I would give advice on that, but I don't think I figured that out myself. What I have found works for me is bring, especially if you are hosting the event, make sure that you have everything, you have a base of what you would like. For example, I am making pizza, and so I have gotten all of the materials to make a standard pizza, and the standard pizza that I want. So that is dough, cheese, sauce, and one topping. I have instructed other people to bring other toppings that they might want. So that means that if someone accidentally doesn't bring it or just flat out doesn't come, then there still will be pizza, but it won't be as good. So ideally, everyone comes and brings exactly what they wanted, what everyone else wanted them to bring. So ideally, someone is going to bring plates. Ideally, someone is going to bring dessert and a salad and drinks. But if they don't, we at least have pizza. Just so long as someone brings the seats. Yeah. That's why I hosted, because I know exactly the seating capacity of my area, of my room. So, yeah. Oh, yes. So, Uncle Ben's life hacks. I have found through many dozens of hours of running trails how best to deal with mud or soft ground. And I can demonstrate. I won't demonstrate here, but I can tell you about it here. So, the best way to deal with mud is don't go where there's mud. That's a general good thing. There's a word to describe it, and it's been said in my safety, when we're talking about safety in the lab courses that I'm taking. I will get back to you on exactly what that's called. But the best way to deal with something is to avoid it, if you can. But if there are extenuating circumstances or otherwise you need to deal with mud, deal with the least muddy mud. As far as every soil looks different when it's wet. And, for instance, this soil here is a little lighter, but it's still soft. And when I'm pushing on it, you see there's a little bit of water coming out there? This soil is kind of sandy, and it's going to be the same soil as when I go this way. So, I'm now going to go from this low area to the high area. And so, if you can see here, this ground is almost a little bit shiny. That's because there's water in it. And also, with sand and dirt combination, especially in Florida, when the ground is darker, it's probably more wet. So, case in point, I'm now going to walk up the bank here to where there's more sand in the soil, and where we're further away from the water, and we're higher above the water. And so the ground here is going to be lighter in color. There are little specks of loose dirt on top that have not been soaked in. And also, there's a bunch of leaves. Leaves and twigs and debris on top will add extra support to dirt when you're stepping on it. So, if you have to pick a line, a path through unsure footing, your best bet is somewhere where there's lots of grass and lots of leaves, as opposed to pure mud. The more solid looking it is, the more texture there is, the stronger it will be. Now, there also is some mud that is squishy this way, and there's some mud that's slippery. And so that's a difference. That's a difference for another day. I can't quite demonstrate that here because this mud here gets deep and your feet get stuck in it that way. But it will, if you try to move this way to it, it will allow you to move this way. That is because there is, I'm not sure about the this way motion, but this dirt is not very fine. The individual dirt particles are actually pretty big, especially in places where it's sandy. So that means that the water has gone all the way in and it'll be more distributed, especially when it rains. But if you have more of a clay soil, clay usually being, I don't know, not dirt, not sand. Clay has very, very fine particles. Kind of like the difference between an arm hair and my beard. If you had to pick a path through my arm hair here, there's a lot more space in there for you to pack stuff in. So this would be like this soil. It's going to be able to, it's not going to hold as much water as it's going to go through it and penetrate to the deeper levels. Now what clay does, like my beard would do, is the water gets in there and there's not anywhere for it to go. So it kind of stays on the surface. And there'll be this little layer on top that is very slippery. You won't necessarily sink in on most surfaces with wet clay, but it becomes very sticky and also it's very slick. Anyway, I believe I will leave it there. This has been Uncle Ben. I will give you the full view here one last time. And I hope you enjoyed the tips. Hope you all enjoy your day. Whatever day it is, I'm going to go enjoy my weekend. There's an Hinga over there. It just died. Just dove. At some point, we'll do something with Hinga. I promise. Alright. Until then, I'm signing off. I love you, and goodbye.